Today, I want to talk about the things that you're going through could possibly be for the glory of God. And you may wonder, how could this possibly bring glory to God, what I'm going through? So I'm going to read out of John chapter 11, verse 4. And this is the story about Lazarus. When Lazarus died, he was dead for 4 days before Jesus even came to raise him back from the dead. So let's see. So it says, but when Jesus heard about it, he said, Lazarus' sickness will not end in death. No, it happened for the glory of God, so that the Son of God will receive glory from this. So we don't look at the things that we go through could possibly bring glory to God, and we wonder, like, how can it possibly do that? But no matter what we're going through, we got to have faith that God is working things out for our good. And it's in Romans 8:28 that all things work for the good of those who love God. Um, uh, it even God doesn't like when we have all these troubles and stuff, because I mean, just like when Lazarus died, Jesus even wept. And so it's not, I mean, people look at like God is just kind of cold and doesn't have feelings, when he really does. Like, he really cares about the things that we are going through. And just like when Lazarus died, and and his sister Mary was weeping, and said, if he would have been here, he wouldn't have died. And and she was just so sad. I mean, obviously, you lose a member of your family, you're going to be sad. But and Jesus loved them, and and he wept. But he loves us too, and it's hard for him to see us go through such hard times. But the battles that we go through, it also helps to strengthen us. Because if everything was so easy, I mean, why would we need any faith? If things were always easy, we had no battles, we had no struggles in this life, everything just came easy, and we had everything we wanted, then people wouldn't seek Jesus. They wouldn't seek God for anything. There wouldn't be prayer, they wouldn't be anything, because they would just, expect everything, and everything would go smoothly. So, we have troubles because that helps, to give us the endurance to, to pray to God, and, to make it through all the stuff that, all our troubles, all our trials that we go through. But even when Jesus was walking the earth, when he was here, he had troubles too. I mean, he didn't live that perfect life where everything was easy for him, because it was quite the opposite, because he had everybody just coming against him. And, so things weren't easy for him either. And the devil even came against Jesus and tempted him. So he also went through the same things that we are going through in our lives. So he totally understands, anything that we're going through. So I am going to read, like, in the study Bible. It just kind of explains. It says, any trial a believer faces can ultimately bring glory to God, because God can bring good out of any bad situation. And in Genesis 50 and 20, and Romans 8:28, which I had already said that, when troubles come, do you grumble, complain, and blame God? Or do you see your problems as opportunities to honor him? So every time we have, like, whatever it is that we're going through, whatever battles, is really stricken us, it's really like, we are facing a lot of hardships in our lives. Are we complaining about it? Are we blaming God for it? And we have to remember that, if we stay faithful, and we are staying, believing and having faith in God, that he's going to work this out for our good, then, you may not see the glory in it right now, but God could be using that situation that you're in, that battle in your life right now, to glorify him. I mean, some people, they may be sick. They may be, maybe they've been diagnosed with a terminal illness or something, and you think, how can that possibly glorify him? Well, I mean, God can cure that. And, you know, he can work many miracles. I've seen so many miracles that he's done myself. And so I know he is a God of miracles. And if you just keep believing that he will do that, if you keep faith in he will work it out for my good, instead of the complaining. Because if you're complaining through all the hardships that you're having, I mean, God's not going to be pleased with that. And, it could end up a worse situation. So you want to, just keep praising God through it. Even though it may be hard, when you're really going through it, to be praising God, because you feel just all the negative, and you think it's never going to work out. It's easy to go to the worst case scenario when things are really bad. And, that again is just the devil making you believe that, is whispering these things in your ear, because the devil is a liar, and he will say things to discourage you, to make you so you don't believe in what God will do for you in your life. So don't believe the lies of the enemy, because, he wants you in fear. He wants you to doubt. He doesn't want you to believe that God will do these things, that he will do things for his glory. So he will do it. If he can raise a man from the dead, he can deal with any problem that you are dealing with. And the Bible is full of different things that God has done that people would not even believe. And they think, well, that happened in biblical days. He wouldn't do that anymore. Well, God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. He never changes. He is still a God that still does miracles. And I've seen it. He is a God that still does miracles. And he will do anything for his glory. And it's not anything that any of us can take credit for. It is something that God does for his glory only. So just, keep in faith. Stop doubting, that it's never going to work out. That the way things look now is the way it's always going to be, because it's not always going to be this way. Things will change. Things in your life, what you're going through today could be completely different tomorrow. It could just change just very rapidly. So just keep holding on, stand strong, keep looking up.